So with the release of Captain America 4 and the Thunderbolts, folks are starting to claim that John Walker should be Captain America again. It's crazy, but it makes sense considering that the folks at Marvel don't seem to put any effort into anything regarding Sam Wilson. Regardless, those who are saying that John Walker should be Captain America are still wrong. So let's break it down. Since Steve Rogers hung up the shield, there have been 3 candidates selected to replace him as Captain America, each with their own reasons for being there. Number 1, James Buchanan Barnes, childhood friend of Steve, former Winter Soldier. He's got the super serum. He's an all-around good guy, and he's probably at a high point in his life considering most of it was spent being mind-controlled. Number 2, Sam Wilson, former air rescueman, has fought by Steve's side through thick and thin, and he's still young and ready to fight injustice. And when I say young, I mean more that he doesn't have as many battle scars as, say, Steve Rogers or Bucky Barnes, since apparently, according to the wiki, he's in his 40s. And number 3, John Walker. He's a decorated soldier, former captain of the 75th Ranger Regiment, and he's got the super soldier serum as well. They all seem like pretty good candidates, but something that people seem to forget is that Captain America is more than just someone who fights for America. He also fights for truth, justice, in the American way. Wait a minute, wrong guy. Think about the character arc that Steve goes on throughout the movies. He's so adamant about securing everyone in the world's freedom and fighting for those who are helpless. He doesn't want to be under a government that has an agenda that may allow some country to suffer so they can prosper. He may wear the stars and bars, but if he needs to go against the American government, he will. This is the legacy of Captain America. He fights for everyone, and if the title was passed on to John Walker, those morals would fly right out of the door. John Walker's a soldier, a great one at that, but he's not fit for Captain America. He's unstable, full of himself, selfish, all things that cannot be so apparent in the next Captain America. I mean, that was the whole point of Captain America, the First Avenger. Steve was chosen over other soldiers who were much more physically fit for the job, simply because he was selfless and driven to do the right thing no matter what. Walker's more comparable to the soldiers from the First Avenger that Peggy Carter considered not fit for the serum, simply because their heart wasn't in the right place. Like, it's honestly crazy how people talk about John Walker considering that scene exists in the First Avenger. Did you all just forget that scene? All right, quickly, I just wanted to add in a little note. Seems I've also forgotten the scene a little bit because it wasn't Peggy Carter who said that the other soldiers weren't fit for the serum. It was Dr. Erskine himself, the one who was putting together the whole experiment with the serum.
Hodge passed every test we gave him. He's big, he's fast, he obeys orders, he's a soldier.
He's a bully.
You don't win wars with niceness, Doctor. You win wars with guts.
Get away! Get back!
That scene explains exactly why John Walker shouldn't have the shield. But despite this, he is an amazingly written character because he's a lot more human than most characters in this universe. His flaws hurt him so much. His wife left him and took the kid with her. He's now shamed for his time as Captain America, and he feels empty. This type of depression leads him to where he is in the Thunderbolts. Looking over the edge of an elevator shaft that goes so deep down, a drop would be fatal. And it's crazy because just for a second, you can tell that he's considering jumping just because of all the things he's been through. And it's moments like these that make you want to cheer for Walker because he really is at a low point in his life. It's not really easy to see anyone at a low point in their life, but that doesn't mean he should be Captain America. He still holds those flaws that keep him from being worthy of the title. He's a very compelling character, but compelling doesn't mean qualified. Everything that Walker is what Steve would have hated in the next Captain America. Yo, this is me editing. I just wanted to add in another point about John Walker that was for some reason not in the script, but just to discuss his whole murder of a terrorist in a foreign country. Obviously that was the reason he got the shield stripped from him. I don't necessarily use that scene as a reason to consider him a terrible person or anything, because I know that if I just saw my friend get ragdolled across a room, my best friend get ragdolled across a room by some terrorists, I'd be pretty heated too. But when it comes to the fact of him being Captain America, it's not something you can really let yourself do, especially in public. His actions against the Flag Smasher, that specific Flag Smasher in that moment, was one of rage, reasonable rage, of course, but one of uncontrollable rage that can't really be displayed to the public as America's soldier. Obviously, we haven't really gotten any type of similar scenario for Steve Rogers to know how he would react, at least in the movies. But I'd imagine that Steve Rogers would be much more collected, considering his whole character. He did watch Bucky fall from a train as they were trying to stop Hydra, and afterwards he still confronts the Red Skull in private as well, and doesn't try and murder him out of a fit of rage. But that is a different situation. Nonetheless, I don't blame him for that. Matter of fact, we've seen some of the Avengers, including another character that I'll be talking about soon, murder terrorists before. So I don't think that's necessarily the craziest thing that keeps him from being able to be Captain America. I think it's more the fact that he did it in a fit of rage. It kind of shows that sometimes he can't control himself. It's just another scene that shows a character trait that can't be a part of the next Captain America under any circumstances. And you may say, what if he developed into a better person as he was Captain America? Well, that doesn't make any narrative sense, considering the other two candidates are already better people suited to be Captain America. Bucky Barnes has been through so much. First, he has to live with the knowledge that he's taken so many innocent lives. Then the Avengers are literally dismantled because Baron Zemo frames him for the murder of the King of Wakanda. A lot of people in the world probably look at him as a murderer. Hell, he probably looked at himself the same way when he was having all those dreams of when he killed his victims. But in the end, Io helped him break out of his Winter Soldier programming, and he was able to move on with his life. He was allowed to start finding peace, and once he kind of came to closure with people whose lives he had severely hurt by his actions as a Winter Soldier, I feel like he should really be in chill mode, for a lack of a better term. That's really because despite how lazy they were with Bucky's story in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that should have been like a soft ending for him. Basically one where he kind of moves out of the forefront of stories somewhat. Because really, Bucky has been through so much. I can't imagine the amount of stress that's been on his back throughout all the issues that have been caused simply for him existing. If I was in his shoes and I finally got a chance at freedom, I'm booking a flight to Cancun. I don't know what else to say. I'm not sticking around. And that's why I never felt that Bucky should have been the next Captain America, because that would put him at the forefront of more conflicts and most likely more times where people would just bring up his past, which despite him coming to peace with, that's always going to be a stain on his life that he could never control. And honestly, since Steve did that as well, he kind of just like went back into time and had a life. Bucky should have went and got a life too. But if he was going to stay in the spotlight, I thought his position in Congress actually worked, because it would mean he wouldn't have to fight as much. He'd be able to fight for justice without having to throw hands at everyone. It would be a lot more of a chill role for someone who still wants to do good for the world. Bucky's already spent his whole life fighting, so if he was to take on the title of Captain America, he'd just have to fight some more, which just seems like so much for that guy to do. It's like what T'Challa said in Infinity War.
This one may be tired of war.
If I was in his position, I'd be extremely tired of war. I'd want to get away from it forever. The fact that he's continued to fight is just baffling to me. But that's why he's Bucky Barnes. He never gives up. He never stops fighting. He's just an all-around good guy, like I said. But his position as a member of the new Avengers established by the Thunderbolts is not something I necessarily agree with. I think it's like really out of character for him. He basically ignores all the crimes that Valentina has committed just to go along with this team, which I understand he may want to like take these the other characters that are on this new Avengers team and put them under his wing, but it seems like he didn't even put up a fight against Valentina, and Valentina probably walked free, which just doesn't seem in character for someone like Bucky. I feel like Bucky would still fight tongue-in-cheek to get her in prison. On top of that, it seems that he's kind of soured his friendship with Sam Wilson off screen due to the fact that this new team has the Avengers title into it, and we'll get into more talk about Sam Wilson and this whole Avengers thing later. But the fact that he's soured his friendship with Sam as well in this process, that also seems really out of character for him. So I don't know who's writing Bucky right now, but they need to tighten up a little bit. But that's not the point, all right? The point is, Bucky should be on some island with some honeys right now, living the rest of his days in pure bliss, not fighting more wars. There's enough superheroes out there for that. So that leaves us with Sam Wilson. Sam has worked beside Steve for years on years, never even considering retracting from his side or going against something that he said. If anything, he knows Steve the best, at least nowadays. On top of this, he's not a problematic character, at least mindset-wise, like John Walker, and he doesn't have a controversial past that may put people off to him being Captain America. So what's the issue with him? He's also pretty bland. Sam's entire personality throughout these movies has been being Captain America's sidekick, having undying loyalty to Steve Rogers. That's it. And yet he's the best candidate for Captain America because he knows what Steve stood for, and he would be the one who would do his best to uphold Steve's values and morals as Captain America. Not saying that Bucky wouldn't do the same either. I just know that Bucky would also do some things his own way, just slightly different. And like I've said before, he needs to be on an island with some honeys. All right. Give him his flowers, let him chill out. And I believe that more people would actually believe that Sam should be Captain America if Falcon and the Winter Soldier did a way better job of contrasting the three characters and establishing an actual moral stance for Sam. Because what Falcon and the Winter Soldier did was give Sam a surface level personality that doesn't really define him at all. Like, the best contrast they did was that he sees the good in people even when they do bad, in contrast to John. And he thinks a little bit more straight than Bucky because Bucky's still somewhat scarred by his past. I mean, that's just like surface level things, and it's not that compelling to make you think, yeah, he's a much better candidate than these other two people. Fact of the matter is, both of those things Steve also had. You needed something different for Sam to make him compelling. The one thing you could have used to make him compelling was his race.
He's black.
Handing over the shield to a black man and telling him to be the face of America is a lot deeper and a lot more complex than how it would be for a white man. And this was explored barely. We get a scene where Sam and his sister try to take out a loan, and we also get the scene where Sam and Bucky get harassed by the cops, and that's about it. These scenes are really just thrown in there. It didn't have any extra significance. They were just kind of there. They really shit the bed when it came to explaining how significant it would be for a black man to take the shield and represent America. Because that's what Captain America is. He represents what America prides itself to be. He's the best of every American out there. So handing the shield over to a black man would obviously be a big thing for the world. And the Isaiah Bradley storyline was great. Isaiah Bradley was a perfect addition to the show because it was an example of a black man being treated very poorly without them having to dig into real historic facts about how black men have been treated. It keeps things from being controversial and still giving a view on the past history of America and black men. The problem is, Sam never gives a stance on how he feels about any of it. He never talks about how he feels about how he's been treated in America. He never really talks about how he feels about how Isaiah Bradley was treated as a black super soldier. And he never talks about what type of message he would want to push as Captain America. The message that Steve pushed was, bullies are bullies, no matter where they come from. All the writers gave to Sam was, we can do better. You can do better. Like, that's just lazy. Almost as lazy as the script for Captain America 4. Captain America 4 is just a lazy fucking Hulk film that they couldn't use the Hulk for. And since obviously they didn't have anything to use Sam Wilson for, they threw him in here. It was such a heartless and empty movie that really showed that Marvel does not care about Sam Wilson at all. There's no crazy message behind this. There's nothing special about Sam Wilson in the movie. It was just which is terrible considering the Captain America movies that we've gotten in the past. You get 3 Captain America movies with really strong messages, and then they don't even fucking try for Sam Wilson's first Captain America movie. On top of that, we get probably the worst end credit scene ever in this movie. Instead of getting any type of expansion on the president wanting Sam to restart the Avengers, we get the leader saying that there's something out there. Ooh, that's so crazy. Like, what does that even mean? That was the worst thing I'd ever seen. That scene was worse than the end credit scene from Avengers Endgame. You know, the one that doesn't exist. Speaking on the whole Avengers team, it's dumb that we have to learn from the Thunderbolts end credit scene that Sam is actually interested in making the Avengers team. And it's not even like they outrightly say that. They say he wants to trademark the name and he's mad that the New Avengers is a thing. So is he making the team, or is he just mad that they stole the team and he's still undecided on if he wants to make a team? Either way, we get this teased in Captain America 4, and then they don't want to expand on it. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. It's just more proof that they don't care about Sam Wilson at all, and they're not putting any effort into his story at this moment. All this is to say, Sam Wilson has the potential to be a way more compelling Captain America than John Walker and Bucky Barnes, simply because there's so much symbolism that could go behind his portrayal as Captain America. But the MCU clearly does not give a shit at all. Sam Wilson deserves better writers, and Captain America deserves better movies. Let's hope that Avengers Doomsday does him right. But the problem with that is we don't even have an actual Avengers team, and no one's really bought behind Sam Wilson being Captain America yet. So who knows what the Russo brothers can cook up when it comes to that movie. But we'll see, of course. But yeah, let me know if you're hyped for Avengers Doomsday. I'm intrigued by it because I want to see how this Avengers team is formed. There's obviously going to be the new Avengers, but then there's going to be Sam Wilson's Avengers, which I'm assuming is going to be Shang-Chi, Thor. I'm trying to think of like the other characters that were teased, or I'm trying to think of the rest of the cast that were announced. I think Ant-Man. There's a few more that I'm not remembering right now, but it's going to be an interesting team, and it's a team that maybe would work if we had a movie before this where we could learn to like them as the Avengers. But I think this is going to be a really odd movie, but I'm also interested to see how it goes, of course. And you know, the Russo brothers haven't really struck out yet. All their movies have been pretty solid, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, if you disagree with anything I said today, please let me know in the comments. Let me know how much you just hate my guts. I promise I won't get mad. And if you really believe that John Walker or Bucky Barnes could really be a much more compelling character than Sam Wilson, please let me know how. And I'm open to discussion. And if you really just don't want race politics in a Captain America movie, I get it. But it's not like the first 3 Captain America movies didn't also have politics. They just weren't based around a race. So, but yeah, like and subscribe for more. As you see, I'm in a new place. I'm always in a new place. If you've seen any of my old videos there, I've got like I've got videos dished across like 1 million places. This is my actual apartment that I'm actually happy about being in, and I'll be here for a while. You see, I just moved in. I don't even have any furniture. That's supposed to be my living room back here. I've got a table and a chair, so, and a bunch of boxes back there. So it's not fully finished. I just got here a few days ago. But yeah, like and subscribe for more videos. I'm doing my content a bit different now. I'm actually writing scripts. This is the first video I haven't just gone off the top of my head as I was recording. I wrote something down and I read off of it for the most part. You know, sometimes I still like to go off the top of my head, but for the most part I read it off of it. I'm hoping to do that for most of my videos now, just to change the style a bit of how these videos go. And yeah, I'm back to making content. So like and subscribe for more. Yeah, as always, thanks for watching.